everyone, welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickway Creators. Today we have Nadim ElHaj with us. He is the head of legal at Abu Dhabi National Hotels, UAE. Thank you so much for joining us, Nadim. We are pleased to have you with us today.
Thank you for hosting me, Abhishek.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So before going further, give us a brief introduction about your personal and professional background.
I'm a real estate lawyer by nature. I've been in the UAE for almost 15 years. I'm a Lebanese qualified lawyer. I'm mainly experienced in corporate real estate, M&A, hospitality, education, retail, and investments in general. I started my career in a major contracting in the UAE, in the major contracting group, and then I moved to Bloom Properties, one of the major developers in the UAE and in the region. There, I was exposed to mega scale projects in the UAE, Mauritius, Iraq, Algeria. That was my core experience in real estate. It was at Bloom Properties. After I stayed at Bloom Properties for nearly 2 years, and then I moved to WongPartnership, a Singaporean international law firm. I was a partner head of real estate for the Middle East for 2 years. So it's always the real estate focus in my career. And I stayed at Wong for 2 years between Abu Dhabi and Singapore. So the main clients of Wong Partnership are Temasek, the sovereign wealth fund in Singapore. And I was in and out to Singapore catering for the firm's clients.
All right.
Among which Capitaland, and on the real estate side. That was an exposure to real estate in the UAE with the inbound aspect from Singapore, channeling investments to Abu Dhabi. And it was a good experience from a cultural perspective, getting to know, Southeast Asia as a region and Singapore in particular.
Right.
After that, I set up my own legal consultancy for a while, and still focusing on the real estate expertise and providing real estate advice to relating to major projects in the UAE, whether on the purely real estate or educational projects. That was for around 18 months, and then I passed the reign to my wife. She's managing now the law firm, because I got an opportunity with the Ministry of Interior in Abu Dhabi, and which I couldn't refuse from it was a very high profile role with the Social Security Fund pertaining to the Ministry of Interior. The mandate was to launch new startups and to create sort of a startup incubator within the Social Security Fund. So that was a very forward-thinking, let's say, experience. And the best thing in this experience is that all the projects we worked on were mainly, not purely commercially driven. The aim was to provide services to all the members of the Ministry of Interior Social Security Fund, 75,000 members in the UAE. So we launched FAZA program, which is the first reloadable payment card program in the MENA region. We launched it with MAF Finance. So it was a good experience in TMT related industry expertise. And we launched a lease to own program as well for the members of the Ministry of Interior, whether on the housing side or on the lease to own relating to vehicles, buying vehicles or so on and so forth. So that was as well a very positive experience from a cultural perspective, because it was my first position within the government of Abu Dhabi. And it was a real pleasure working with the Minister of Interior, brilliant Emirati nationals, working on setting up new projects and putting all the efforts into launching these projects within very short time frames. So the Faza program was launched by His Highness Sheikh Saif bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Minister of Interior from the Abu Dhabi Police HQ, from his office at the Abu Dhabi HQ, Abu Dhabi Police HQ. So that was a great privilege to have contributed to launching this program. Yeah. So I worked there for 3 years, sorry. And then I had an opportunity to move to Abu Dhabi National Hotels in the hospitality and leisure sector.
Yeah.
So Abu Dhabi National Hotels is a 45 years old group in the UAE and the region. Main focus is hospitality, investments in hospitality and asset management. And ADNH has several verticals. So you have the hospitality vertical, you have the catering vertical, the transport vertical, and we have the travel vertical as well. And we have a retail vertical. So it's quite a varied experience. And we operate quite closely all our assets in the UAE and the region. And I'm working with a very result-oriented CEO and board of directors. So for them, time is money. We need to get things done the proper way and the fastest way possible. So yeah, and I think that was reflected in the deal we did in Dubai. So it was a 2.2 billion acquisition of 5 Emaar hospitality hotels in Downtown Burj Khalifa in downtown Dubai. So this deal was practically negotiated in 3 months and a half. From the day we started negotiating the share purchase agreement up to closing. And the deal involved 5 trophy hotels, totaling 1,000 keys, and required expertise in hospitality, M&A, IP, and real estate. So it was quite a challenging experience. And with the support of the CEO and the board of directors, we were able to close it in nearly 3 months' time.
Right. So you you have already discussed about the challenges you had faced during the negotiation and closing the AD. So I just wanted to understand, why did you choose to be a lawyer? Because you have covered all the major aspects with the AD, and so if you can just tell us, why did you choose to be a lawyer?
Yes, for sure. I think, coming from a family of lawyers, my father was a lawyer, and my brother is a lawyer. My wife is a lawyer as well. So, I'm surrounded by lawyers. But since I was, a child, I used to see my father coming back home with, carrying the lawyer's robe. So intuitively, I had in mind that, it's like I decided I want to be a lawyer. I was maybe 5, 6 years old, as I remember it. So I think it's intuition, it's maybe genetic as well. I believe in that. Genetically, you inherit genes from your parents, and genes include, acquired skills. So there is a new theory in that. So I believe in that. I think it's genetic and intuitive at the same time. And for sure, if you're surrounded, by an environment, that relates to the law profession and being a lawyer, that will, increase the chance of, for you to opt for such a profession.
You have been into retail, real estate, and hospitality industry for quite long.
Yes.
And you have seen, and you have also worked with the South Asian market as well as the complete Middle East region.
Yeah.
So at this time, because during the pandemic, I just need to understand how this hospitality sector in the UAE is impacted, and what solutions do you foresee?
The UAE was impacted by the COVID pandemic as part of the global community. So, and the main impact sustained by the hospitality sector in the UAE is due to the global restrictions or precautionary measures against the spread of the COVID, global and local restrictions, materialized in travel ban and closing of hotels, F&B outlets, restaurants across globally and across the UAE. So that had a direct impact on the business. However, the UAE is always keen to tackle any challenge with a decisive and aggressive manner in order to mitigate the risks within the shortest time possible at the leadership level. And so the UAE government and Abu Dhabi government took drastic measures in containing the spread of the COVID-19 by imposing severe lockdowns and drastic precautionary measures in the UAE and in Abu Dhabi. So over 3 months' time, the UAE has undergone more than 3 million screenings of citizens and residents. And the number of coronavirus infections went down from nearly 17,000 to 6,000 at the time being. And the rate of new coronavirus infections is currently very low. It might, flatten in the very near future. So this all, brings back confidence in to the consumer from a consumer behavior. And we're starting to see that across all our hotels in Abu Dhabi and the UAE in Dubai. People are again going out and, going to hotels, restaurants, while maintaining all the, precautionary measures and social distancing measures. So it's working quite well. And I see it continuing in the next till end of year and until we have a vaccine in place, then we would regain the international tourist market segment for the hospitality and leisure business, which is the major segment. But still, in the meantime, local tourism will help to alleviate the challenges sustained by the hospitality sector. And as a group, it will help us to stay afloat and to keep focusing on the current operations and potential new investments within the coming few years.
Yeah, things are flattening now because we are also, especially in India, if I talk about the Indian market, so even especially in the metro cities like Mumbai and Delhi, so we are seeing the positive response from the medical side.
Excellent.
And as you rightly mentioned, once vaccine will be out, things will become normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
So you were talking about the challenges you had faced during the negotiation. So can you elaborate more about the acquisition in Downtown Burj Khalifa?
Yes, for sure. So the acquisition was done in roughly 3 months' time. We
And
applied.
you were the main responsible person for that?
So under the directions of the board of directors and the CEO, I was among the team steering the negotiations with Emaar Hospitality Group, attending the day-to-day meetings and negotiations relating to all the agreements pertaining to the acquisition. So it was a 3 months exercise involving 1,000 keys for 82.2 billion. The approach we had to the deal was based on a 2-stage due diligence. So we had undergone a limited due diligence at the first stage in order to identify the main commercial terms. And once the heads of terms were executed between the parties, so once the main commercial terms were locked in between the parties, then we moved to full-fledged due diligence while negotiating the definite agreements, which is a quite challenging process because you know it required a strong external legal counsel providing support on the due diligence side and on the negotiation side. So I was all the time, you know, connected to a team of lawyers, providing back office support, going into the VDR, reviewing all the documents, the salient documents relating to the acquisition, and feeding in the major risks identified in the due diligence. And at the same time, as I was receiving these risks, I was at the same time negotiating the definite agreements with the counterparty. So it required the quick analysis, an eye to detail all the time. We didn't have the luxury of committing any mistake in the deal. And it was very challenging, but I had a strong team with me as an external legal counsel. And we were able to identify the main, you know, commercial risks in the transaction. And we reported these risks to the CEO and the board of directors. And based on their instructions, we went back to the counterparty and, you know, briefed them on advised them of the main commercial risks and what are the deal breakers. And based on that, we were able to reach a halfway agreement between both parties, which led to the execution of the share purchase agreement and then moving on a fast track mode to closing. You know, dealing with such a major counterparty, you know, Emaar is the biggest developer in Dubai. And given the nature of the assets and the location of the assets, so we had 5 assets surrounding the Burj Khalifa. It wasn't an easy exercise. However, you know, if you, as a lawyer, if you have the required emotional intelligence gained over the years and diplomacy in negotiating the deal while, you know, identifying the main commercial risks and conveying these risks to the CEO and the board of directors, then the process will be, you know, the deal would be feasible. And so I think the main role of a general counsel is to orchestrate the teamwork between the external counsel, the internal, you know, management, CEO, board of directors, while having a 360 input into the deal from a strategic perspective, and which is very important because in such a deal you need to look at it from a 360 angle all the way. You need to think about post-acquisition integration-related requirements, and to have such requirements defined ahead of the signing of the definite agreements in order to ensure that necessary contractual provisions are inserted into these definite agreements to cover the post-acquisition operational risks, because it's a long-term deal. We're not acquiring assets in order to exit the deal within a short-term strategy. It's more of a long-term commitment. So we acquired these assets, and at the same time, we negotiated the management agreements, long-term management agreements with Emaar as an operator. So currently, ADNH is the owner of these assets, whereas Emaar is still the operator of these assets under the brands of Address and Vida. So, I think that was the major challenge. But with the support of our CEO, who is, a top-notch expert in the hospitality sector, who provided great input on the commercial terms, and who negotiated the main commercial terms with Emaar with the support of the board, and who was able to bring even input on the nitty-gritty points related to the management agreement to cover the risks, the operational risks post-acquisition. So that was as well a major factor in the success of the transaction. It was a major challenge, but my character, is, I like challenges. I don't take no for an answer. I'm not an easy, I don't give up easily on anything. I think that's going back to my father. This is the way I was raised. If you have a challenge, you need to keep pushing in order to make it happen.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. So, and for sure, I believe in God. God helps you as well in such situations. So
it's a very long deal. I think 3.5 months to close a deal with such a big group like Emaar.
Yes.
So that's really a great hats off to you. It's a great deal.
I can tell you, the last month of the deal, I was nearly, moving from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, 8 in the morning, coming back midnight every day for 30 days, and spending all the time negotiations on all the agreements. You need to keep awake. You cannot miss any point. You need to stay calm, zero reactions, and just to be able to grab all the information surrounding this deal, and to analyze it, and to come back with in an organized manner to get all these agreements executed one by one. So it was a major challenge. But if we don't have challenges, then we don't know, what we're able to do or not to do in life. So I personally speaking, it's a pleasure to go through such challenges, and I'm looking forward to the next challenge in terms of transactions and
absolutely
future acquisition.
Absolutely. So I think you have inherited a lot of things from your father. And he was such a strong personality, because dealing with Emaar and going for almost 3.5 months deal, it's not an easy job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as a legal professional, what are the 3 core values you truly believe in?
The 3 core values is, ethics. You need to have ethics as a lawyer. You cannot, a lawyer can never be, a broker, or you should be a deal maker, meaning you should contribute to the deal making, but you should never look at the deal from a personal benefit or commercial benefit from a deal. Lawyers need to decide. You cannot be a lawyer and have any interest in the deal. Personally speaking, and even from a regulatory perspective. And so I think, and from a law profession ethics, this is what you learn at the university. This is what you learn at home before reaching university. So I think a lawyer is the main core value is ethics. You need to have ethics. Ethics is demonstrated by resilience, continuous provision of high value advice within preset timelines, and zero interest in the deal from a commercial perspective. And other important values, you need to have a business mindset while having a humanistic approach to to the provision of legal advice, especially in employment matters. You need to apply the employment law, and you need to have a humanistic approach towards employees in case of termination of employees or disciplinary measures that are not severe, let's say, for small mistakes. And at the end, it's not only, it will reflect, the group will benefit from that, from a branding perspective. When you are humanistic in your approach with your employees, your brand name will become stronger, and you will be considered as one of the best employers within your jurisdiction. So I think ethics and commercial, they both can merge and can lead to the same result. So I like looking at business or investments from a humanistic approach, and I think lawyers should do that as much as possible. So these are the core values a lawyer should have.
Thank you so much. So it was a great learning for me as well, not only for our legal lawyers, but
Thank you. I'm humble.
Yeah.
I'm
so
humble.
Thank you
thank
so
you
much, Nadim, for sharing such great insight with us, and we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future.
For sure. Thank you for a kind invitation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And for our viewers, if you like this chat, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to Clickway Creators YouTube channel. And appreciate what we do and have more coming from the industry leaders. This is Abhishek for LexTalk World.